I mean, the property looks very large. I know there's a lot of amenities on there too, like campgrounds and
Yeah.
other stuff. So the property just looks ginormous. So you guys didn't have to go the Scott Arnberg route where he said they basically had to infiltrate their board of directors where he was at so that they could get rid of the anti or have enough pro gun, pro competition shooters on there to expand where he was working. You guys were able to work with him.
Yeah, I mean, we're very fortunate that the pistol range, once we've convinced them and have shown them now that, hey, this is something that is viable, that they have really embraced us and have partnered with us to expand the program.
You guys are in April. You have yeah, the Buck or is it May? Buckeye or
First weekend of
May?
May.
Right. So you guys have the Buckeye Blast coming up in that first weekend. It's like May 4th. How long is this your first one?
So, not the first Buckeye Blast in the state of Ohio, but the first Buckeye Blast at Cardinal.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, I thought I'd heard of it before, but I didn't really see much out there about it. Okay.
Yeah, so
And
this is the first major that we're holding at Cardinal for USPSA.
and how long has that been in the works? Like, how long did it take for you guys to put that together and talk to whoever was doing it before, or was it you guys and then just moved it?
Um, it's been almost it'll be almost a year that since from start to finish by the time we get around to May 1st. The former match director and range was they'd been doing it for a while, and at the end of the day, they were just ready for it to move on. You know, it's a lot of work,
Right.
and so when Dan and I got involved in Cardinal, we had always kind of joked, "Oh yeah, the second year we'll run a major," and it came up that, hey, does anyone want to run a major at Cardinal? You know, does anyone want to run this Buckeye Blast? If no one else wants to run it, we're probably not going to run it next year. And we said, yeah, sure,
Mm.
we'll run it. And a couple iterations thereafter, we really got rolling in October as far as you know, we had a date picked and we were opening up staff applications and stuff like that. And then we're first week of March, and we've got 48 slots left.
Yeah, it's mostly full.
Yeah.
Um, any surprises so far in that year of planning?
Um, you know, I'm pleasantly surprised. There, the state of shooting is a weird thing right now. You know, we were told, oh, it's hard to get sponsors. You know, it's hard to get staff. Fortunately, we haven't had those problems. So pleasantly surprised that the people that said, "Oh yeah, well, you're going to have a hard time getting enough staff to do what you want to do, hard time getting enough shooters to do what you want to do," sponsors. We have been pleasantly surprised that that hasn't been our biggest challenge.
All right. Now that brings up a bigger question then. I'm wondering if that has to do with variety. And I say that because, people were getting sick of Frostproof when Nationals was being held down there. Maybe people were tired of seeing where the Buckeye Blast was being held before and they were just same old grind. You know what I mean? I'm wondering
I'm not
if
sure.
people like that variety of moving it around, changing things up.
I'm not sure. Um, I think variety is definitely important. I mean, most of us don't like to eat the same meal for dinner 7 days a week. You know, case in point for variety. But I think a lot of it is that so Dan and I are also out there traveling to matches. We're talking to shooters. We're asking them, hey, what does the perfect match look like to you? And fortunately, we've had the flexibility with Cardinal and some of our sponsors to say, we want to do it. We want to make it perfect for the shooter. So we're bringing in, we asked, hey, what does great food look like to you? And we found Bobby from Barbecue. So
Yeah.
Bobby's coming to our match. We asked shooters, what does the best match look like to you? And they said, it looks like Area 6 and the Carolina sectionals that do staff reset. We said, sounds great. We'll do staff reset. We found out that people don't want to shoot 12 stages in a day, 13 stages in a day. Sounds great. We'll split it up in 2 days. So
I feel
all those different things.
interesting. I feel like you got a hold of my Google account and read some of my questions because those were exactly, I was going to ask, why a split day format? That's interesting that, now how did you guys get the feedback? Because like I just posted a survey about live streaming. Would people watch live streaming nationals? So I put it out on Instagram, used Google Forms, created a survey. How did you guys go about getting your feedback in order to format your match?
Boots on the ground.
So
Dan
just
and
talking
I,
to people.
So Dan Click is the match director for Buckeye. He was a range master candidate last year, so is now a range master. He went to he worked all the nationals last year except for World Speed Shoot and PCC production. I was at PCC production. So we saw, theoretically, everyone that shot nationals, they either saw Dan or I. We were at Area 5. We were at Battle for the North Coast. We were at the Buckeye Blast last year. Kentucky, Western Pennsylvania, Ryan Rocks, like any of the majors in our area, in our geographical, like Ohio, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, we were there. We were talking to shooters. We were talking to staff. I mean, I had before or after nationals last year, I had a list of probably 25 staff members that said, "Hey, Khory, I'll work your match." We didn't even have an application out yet.
Wow.
I was getting names and phone numbers and email addresses of people saying, "Hey, yeah, Khory, whatever it is, as long as I'm available, I'll work your match." And Dan had the same list. So it's just, I'm in sales. He's kind of in sales. He's in accounting, but he does some sales and accounting, so it's just out there talking to people, asking, "Hey, what do you want to see?"
Yeah, because I found it interesting when I was looking at the match on Practice Score. I'm like, well, that's wild. It's an afternoon Friday, morning Saturday, afternoon Saturday, morning Sunday, but there's also an all-day Saturday.
Yeah.
Now, how do you work? I assume you must be staggering where the people who shoot half day Friday, half day Saturday, I'm assuming they're starting on one half of the stages and the all day Saturday is starting on the other half of the stages. And then when the afternoon session comes in on Saturday, they're going to shoot the section that the all day just finished shooting.
Kind of.
Okay.
So the all day, there's only 2 squads for all day Saturday.
Okay.
So there are, theoretically, we can, during each time slot, so I'm going to call the main time slots of Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, and Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning. In each time slot, I could have a total of 12 squads moving at a time. So instead of running 12 squads in both of those time slots, I'm only putting 10 in both of those time slots, which allows me to have 2 squads of all days.
Gotcha.
On Saturday. So basically, in each zone on Saturday, there's going to be 1 squad that's an all-day squad working through that zone, both in the morning and the afternoon.
Gotcha.
Because at the end of the day, it's the same number of stages, the same number of stops that they have to hit, whether they shoot them half-day Friday and half-day Saturday or all-day Saturday.
Hey, I guess I didn't look at the actual number of squads there to see that there were 10 and 2.
Yeah.
So
initially, we didn't know whether people would even like it. So I reserved like 4 squads for all day Saturday just in case, because I didn't want the match to. I figured the Saturday Sunday squads and the all day Saturday squads would go first, which they did. But
okay.
I think I just put the last person into the all day Saturday squads like Friday. So I mean the all day Saturday squads did not move as quickly as I thought they would, which meant that people were okay with shooting Friday, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday. I mean, very few people called me and said, "I have to shoot all day Saturday or I can't come to your match."
So they're doing like just a smaller national style format.
Yeah, kind of
Yeah,
national
maybe.
style. Area 6 does something similar. I mean, I was kind of talked to my parents. My dad doesn't like shooting majors anymore, and I asked him why, and he says I don't want to shoot all 12 stages in one day. I said, sounds great. What if we shot? What if you shot? But you don't mind shooting 2 club matches in a weekend? Club matches around
Hmm.
us are 6 stages on average, 5 to 6 stages. Doesn't mind
Okay.
shooting 2 club matches in a weekend, but doesn't want to shoot a major all in one day. So why don't we just give you a major that has 2 back-to-backs, and it's like shooting 2 club matches in the same weekend?
I mean, it's if you know, like obviously. I mean, shooting at nationals, you're never tired at the end of your half day
Well,
shooting. So
staff is. I've
well,
actually
yeah,
never
because
shot in that.
they're there all day. So
Yeah,
and they
I've
shoot
actually
all
never
day.
shot as a competitor at nationals. I've only shot a staff.
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah,
Okay. Well, then you are tired.
yeah,
I am not.
yeah. It's 5 days of vacation for it's 3 days of vacation for you. It's 5 days of work for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely getting the better deal for sure. So I can see why the draw would be there. I still do though for a one, we'll call it a 1 day major, that people like to split it up and shoot the 2 days.
Hmm.
So that's pretty wild.
And the other concern that we were having and we were hearing was cost. So not cost of the major itself, but cost of, oh, I've got to buy an extra hotel room. But at the end of the day, we were looking at it and we're like, okay, if you're within 5 hours, theoretically, you can come in and shoot, drive in Friday morning or Saturday morning, shoot in the afternoon, stay your one night, shoot in the morning and leave. And the
Easy
people
day.
that are the people that are super serious about shooting majors, they're already coming in for 2 nights, whether it's the day before and the day after, or even 2 days before and the night of.
Yeah, and I imagine most of them are doing the Saturday afternoon, Sunday morning, where they fly in Friday evening, fly
Yeah,
out Sunday evening. They spend all morning, walking stages, watching people shoot. So yeah, I totally get it. And that to me would be the optimal way to shoot your match. So
well, I've got one slot left on Saturday Sunday, so we should see you there.
you know what? I looked at it, but my wife is making a trip to Hawaii, and I'm on Great Dane duty for those 2 weeks, starting that weekend. Actually,
Bummer.
yeah, her and her sister, her niece, so her sister's daughter's in Hawaii, so
Okay.
they yeah, they were just there in September. They're going back in May, so nice for me because I still get to take a little time off from work and hang out with the dog, so I'm all right with that.
Gotcha.
Now, you mentioned that so getting into Buckeye Blast real quick.
Hmm.
One of the questions I did have, and you kind of touched on it, was you were told that getting sponsors would be difficult, but it seems like you have quite a few sponsors. And as soon as you mentioned limited optics, somebody stepped up and sponsored that.
It was actually we had already somewhat had it lined up before limited optics was announced.
We don't have to tell anybody.
It's fine.
So did how many of the sponsors actually came to you, and how many did you go reach out to and ask?
We reached out to all of them.
Okay.
I mean, sponsors, for the most part, sponsors don't show up on your doorstep.
Okay.
Um, there was maybe one or two, and the one or two are people that I personally like, I shoot with or work with. So, they came and said, "Hey, we're in. Just send me the sponsorship packet whenever you get around to it." But for the most part, we asked them all.
Okay. I didn't know if maybe there were some returning sponsors that are like, we're enjoying sponsoring this match. So,
Well, it's kind of a whole new. I mean, it's basically a whole new match. So
okay.
we didn't have too many of those people saying. I mean, hopefully next year we will, but it's pretty much a whole new match. I mean, neither Dan or I were involved other than his ROs or stats last year, so we didn't get any of the contact information or anything like that from last year.
Oh, okay. I think it was 2020. And yeah, 2020 and 2021, Keanu Sai was the match director for Area 8 up at Shadowhawk, which is the West Virginia, Maryland,
Hmm.
Virginia confluence there. And he did something interesting where he sent out Google surveys to all of the shooters and then, posted those results. Have you guys considered anything like that post match for the competitors?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be on the range having the conversations with competitors. But yes, that is the plan, is to, you know, have, get the after action reports both from staff and competitors and make sure, hey, what did you like? I call it a plus delta. What did you like? What do you want to change for next year? So yeah, I mean, yes, that is the plan. Um, and we'd be crazy not to.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, you can. I love that you guys are talking to people. That's great. I mean, you've already made. You've changed the format of probably how you would have done the match had you not talked to people to find out. But it's easy 6 months later to forget. Oh shoot, what did that one guy say about this?
Oh yeah.
A, B, and C, and having it written down is nice. Now, was there any discussion of any type? This goes back to the survey that I put out. Um, has there been any comment, or have you in your travels heard anything about people desiring live streaming?
It's an interesting conversation. I think live. I would love to see, um, I would love to see the future where we have this on TV in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how realistic it is, but I think the first step is, well, let's get it on YouTube and see what people think about it on, live streaming on YouTube.
Agree.
And I think maybe I'm coming from it from a match perspective of any match could use a little bit of money for someone to come in and pay them to be on the range and run TV. If you got a ESPN sponsorship deal, that type of thing.
Right.
Realistic, probably not, but maybe it is. I don't disagree with what you're saying with Matt about how USPSA may be a challenge to run as a ESPN sport because it's hard to score.
A lot of downtime. Yeah.
Right. Whereas, so 2 weeks before Buckeye Blast, we've got a Falling Steel match at Cardinal, which is
Mm-hmm.
being it's a Falling Steel World Series, which is kind of that perfect medium for the live stream. You can watch and see its time and how many and the steel that fell. So it's we get a lot of, from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing from the match directors, they get a lot of hits on social media. With that, they get it plays well and it looks good. People can see, oh yeah, that guy shot it faster than the next guy. So whether we're doing live streaming, we'll probably go live on social media, but I don't know whether we'll have a formalized live streaming plan.
And it is mostly conversation. Um, I could see where it would be much more difficult, doing state matches, sectional matches, and stuff like that, because you may not have as much draw, but at a national level match, I could see where for sure, there'd be maybe more draw to watch. But I wanted to bring it up to mention it specifically. Nick Walden had commented, and I thought it was very interesting comment I had not considered, which is, what about a delay of like 10 minutes? Then you could, you know, cut out the pasting. You could even cut out the lifting of the steel, or even the delay between shooters, stuff like that. It would be. I think there are some ways to do it, but it's in its infancy. So I agree. The way to start is small, like with a YouTube,
Yeah,
and see what the interest is.
USPSA did it. I think 2 matches. Um, I know they did it back in 2021. They had the Mevo set up on 10 of the 20 bays at at nationals, and I'm not sure. So they say, and I believe them. They say it's because of internet changes, and I was out there both years, and I noticed there was a difference in internet from one year to the next.
Okay.
Whether they bring those to Cardinal and say, hey, we're going to set them up, we've got internet. We're about 20 minutes north of Columbus, so it's not in the middle of nowhere. We're right off I-71 in the heart of Ohio. If they bring them, great. If not, that's fine too.
Yeah, I mean, I actually did a Google of cell phone coverage of that area, and I mean, because you guys are right off the interstate, it's basically every carrier has very good coverage
Yeah.
of that spot. So I mean, you could use cell phone coverage. I don't know what you guys have for amenities there, like Wi-Fi, but
I know we have it, and we're working on. So we're currently in a project to expand the range. It'll be done by mid-April, I believe. We're going from 12 action shooting bays to 21 action shooting bays.
okay.
So I mean, it has to be done for the Buckeye Blast. So and I know I think they've got 3/4 of it done now. So the only question is, will Wi-Fi be there by Buckeye Blast? And we're hoping yes. That's the one thing that they said we're not 100% sure whether we're going to be able to get it done. But part of the range is already covered by Wi-Fi. Now I don't know what the internet protocol is there as far as how much internet is available. So it probably won't be open to the public, but it'll at least be enough to run like live scoring and stuff like that on part of the range.
Even that would be pretty interesting,
Yeah, I've run it. So I've done stats at all the matches except for one last year that I worked, or two. I ran stats, and live scoring is the way to go. Get rid of the printers and the tab, and the scribe and all that stuff, and you're off to the races.
Yeah, absolutely. And make it so people can track the scores,
Right.
They love that.
Yeah, some of the big competitors love it, and some of the big competitors keep away from it. They crumple up their receipt and toss it in their bag, and they don't want to know.
But anybody else wondering?
Oh yeah, the rest of us are watching it. Have they hit approve yet?
Right, exactly. I can even remember I was working the Virginia State match back in 2020, and man, it was I think it was either 2020 or 2021, either one. But it was a tight match coming right down to the end, and literally everybody was on the Practice Score competitor app, refresh, just to see who was going to win the match. It was pretty wild watching all the different people.
I mean, I think Carry Optics was pretty darn close to it, wasn't it? Wasn't it the ladies that were?
The ladies, yes. Yeah, that literally came down to Justine Williams' last stage run.
Yeah.
It was they had like 3 of the ladies who were within 15 points of each other. So that was.
And PCC wasn't quite that close for number 1 and 2, but a buddy of mine was vying for the top 10, and so I was refreshing all day long while he was shooting to figure out, and after he was done, because he shot in the morning on Sunday, to figure out what exactly where he'd end up.
Well, imagine limited nationals where it was less than a point.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yep.
You could burn some phones up with them many times as you'd be hitting refresh with those.
Yeah, I'll be at limited nationals at Cardinal this year, so I'm looking forward to seeing Nils shoot his Canic and beat major shooters, major power factor shooters.
But that means it's also production, right?
That's fair. But I mean, yeah, we'll see.
I have a feeling he'll shoot.
He'll probably shoot production.
He probably will, and then he'll have a steel gun shooting production too. Holy cow! Well, I had a joke written down. You guys have juniors and active duty military only $100. So I was like, so does that mean Roy Jones Jr. would be able to shoot for $100? I was like, his last name isn't Junior. I mean, but I know what you meant.
Yeah, maybe I should have defined it. Don't worry, it's already been updated.
I think most people get it. Now, you guys though did. How long after they made the announcement of the provisional division of limited optics did you guys announce that you had added it to the match?
I mean, within 12 hours, less than that.
Okay.
Well, actually, I take that back. I don't know exactly when Yeeman posted that video. I saw the video about 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time.
Yeah, it was pretty early.
Yeah, I mean, he said I posted it this morning, last night. So I don't know whether he's in Florida or in California right now, but yeah, we posted I think 2 o'clock in the afternoon, something like that.
Oh, okay.
And then we got 25 comments and messages, and some of our friends. Actually, it's funny. Rick Powers is your gun butter advocate,
Yes.
and he is in the greater Cleveland area, and he messages me, and he's like, "Hey, are you sure?" And I said, "Yeah. You don't trust me?" And he's like, "Well, no." He said, "No." He's like, "Yeah, I trust you, but I want proof."
Trust but verify.
Right, exactly. Trust but verify. So, I guess Dan saw him over the weekend, and they were laughing about that.
Well, and this is neither here nor there, but I guess still nobody has actually signed up for limited optics.
I think there was one. I don't know whether he's still there or not, but there was one. Yeah.
I'm looking at the match breakdown right now on Practice Score, and it's not showing one, so I don't know.
He might have switched.
Yeah.
I think we may. So keep in mind, it's literally. So the reason I wanted to make a splash with it was it's the first match. It's the first major match, and theoretically the first match that allows limited optics. We start on a Thursday. Unless there's matches Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we are the first match that's allowing limited optics. Definitely at this point, the first major. I didn't really care whether anyone shot it or not. I just wanted to make a splash of saying that it was out there.
There you go.
I'm constantly monitoring my Facebook analytics, and I typically get 300-400 views on stuff. Well, that one has 11,000 reaction. People reached.
Wow.
So it did what I wanted it to do.
There you go. Yeah, it made a splash. And now, at what point? You had mentioned earlier that the Cardinal Shooting Center decided they wanted to hold as many national events as possible. At what point did they make the determination that was going to include pistol and that they wanted to have USPSA Nationals there this year?
I would say that it was decided probably over this. It was definitely solid summer. I think it was announced at Khory Optics Nationals, so it was probably decided a month or two before that. At least the Khory Optics Nationals at Cardinal was probably decided a month or two before that. They were approaching each other, if you will. USPSA and Cardinal leadership were approaching each other even for nationals earlier than that, and Cardinal kind of said thanks but no thanks because they weren't ready yet.
Okay.
But now with us having a year under our belts, as far as we've got a year's worth of steel, we've got a year's worth of targets, and then we're buying in another whole set of stuff for all the matches coming up. That we plus we had Jake Martins on the range numerous times over the last year. So he came out to the first steel match, or the first steel major that we had out there in 2021. He was out on the range for we did what we think is the first ever steel and USPSA match. So we had 4 USPSA stages and 4 steel challenge stages on the same range at the same time.
Interesting.
So he was out there for that. And so he's seen the range, so it was just a matter of getting the right people talking and kind of planting the idea.
Until next time.
Don't be a little bitch.
Yeah.